Welcome, everybody, to another live and amplified livecast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and we're back at it again with another amazing podcast. We are right in the middle of our 25 days of Christmas. And before I bring in our next guest, I do want to take a personal second here to thank everybody that supported us. The day that we are recording this, December 12th, it is our 8-year anniversary. And I just wanted to kind of take a quick second and thank everybody for all the years of support and hopefully many more years of support. So that being said, let's bring in our next guest. We got Nicola Harris. How's it going today?
It's all good. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. We've been trying to make this work for a little bit. You know, we were originally talking about the pancreatic cancer fundraiser, and then the randomness of that schedule. You know, it's all good, but I'm glad we finally got something worked out.
And I'm happy it's on your anniversary as well. Congratulations.
Yeah, for sure. It's so crazy. Like, I didn't think this thing was going to last 2 years, and here we are 8 years later. So,
Wow.
yeah,
It's a long time. Credit
right?
to you.
Yeah, thank you. So really excited to chat with you, get to know you a little bit more. So you're coming to us from the UK. You're in Nottingham, correct?
I am. I'm in Robin Hood's country, Prince of
Nice.
Thieves.
That is always kind of one of the places, like when I do finally make it over to the UK, that is like one of 4 places that I want to visit just because of the whole Robin Hood thing.
Robin
So,
Hood.
yeah.
Do you know what? Obviously I'm from here, born and
Mhm.
bred, but it is magical when you go there actually, and you see the old oak tree and everything, and
Mm.
it's all there, and the characters, it's all there. You
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
like, what's the word, mystical, I suppose.
Yeah.
It feels sort of very of the time, and it's a lovely place to visit, and that the
Yeah.
forest is wonderful.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It sad that what the out of those 4 places, London is not on that list.
It's very hectic, London is.
Yeah.
I've recently been myself,
Uh-huh.
and it's lovely for a couple of days, but I am somebody who, I love the countryside.
Mhm.
I need to see green trees. I need to see
Yeah.
fields. I need to see a lot of distance, buildings all around me. I can start getting very claustrophobic very
Fair.
quickly.
Fair. I, I'm kind of the same way, but for whatever reason, I don't like doing like the traditional touristy things. And so,
Right.
like, to me, whenever somebody says, "Oh, they're going to the UK," in my head, it's like, "Oh, they're going to London." You know, it's like
Right.
I'd rather
A
go
lot
down.
of people like to go to York. When they
Okay.
come to London, I always recommend York because it's very oldie worldy, loads of
Mhm.
little cobbled streets, and it's how you would imagine London of old to be. And they've still
Nice.
got the traditional places there, which I always say go to York.
Nice. That's cool. That's cool. Oh, so growing up in Nottingham, what was the scene like for you? How'd you get introduced to music? Kind of like take this opportunity to kind of give us a little bit about your background.
My background is I went to school in Nottingham, and I've always been a dancer.
Mm.
That's been my thing. I'm a dancer through and through. In fact, my mum will say I was just born to dance.
Mm.
But my brother used to be in a band and he used to play drums. And I remember sitting there having to wait patiently for him to finish.
Mm.
And I'm thinking, God, this is a chore, because it was a ukulele band. So if you can imagine, like 30 ukuleles all being played
Yeah.
by children, and my brother's there banging drums, and it's like but there was a girl that couldn't do a gig at the weekend,
Mhm.
and the teacher was a little bit annoyed because she'd left it right to the end of this rehearsal to say, oh, by the way, sir, I'm not going to be here. And he was like, oh my gosh, you could tell the like
Yeah.
stress on his face. And I was only 6 at the time, but I'd been to so many of the rehearsals, and he was sort of saying, well, does anybody else know this song? And it happened to be a song called the Teddy Bear Song by Barbara Fairchild.
Okay.
um, and and so nobody put their hand up, and I'm thinking, I just kept looking at the time thinking, oh, I'm going to be late for my dance, and I just went, I know it, and stuck my hand up, and my mum's going, what are you doing? And I was only 6, and I said, I just want to get to my dance class. And they were like, but do you know the song? And I'm like, yeah, I know the song. I'll come and sing it for you, because just time was of the essence.
Yeah.
So they gave me the microphone, humored me, and I just sang this song all the way through from top to bottom. They were like, oh my gosh, where's this voice come from? Like, I didn't think anything of it because I thought, well, I know this song because I've heard it
Yeah,
so many times.
yeah.
And I didn't think it was a biggie, but everybody was like, oh my God, this 6-year-old child's got this voice of an adult. And I've always had a pretty deep voice.
Mm,
So then, because my mum was shocked, everybody there was shocked. They were all like, this 6-year-old child's got a voice. So then I was encouraged more. It was sort of like, obviously,
yeah,
my dancing was always a thing, but the singing came along, and it was just from this one song and me saying I'm going to miss my dance class, and I just wanted to get this process over and done with. And even my brother on drums was sort of hitting the drums and thinking, my sister's singing.
what
She,
is going on? That's
this isn't phasing her at all. She's just singing it and
yeah.
enjoying herself, and like, can we now go? But
It,
that
it
was my
it's
song.
it's the prime example of kind of like ignorance is bliss type situation where you don't even realize what you're doing, and it's like you're just kind of doing a thing, but you don't realize the impact that it's having, or
I
like
hadn't got a clue. And do you know what? Sometimes even now, because the dancer is still inside of me,
yeah,
the dancing side, the performance side
yeah,
of me is a real strong thing with when I'm performing, when I'm singing. It's my whole performance that still is resonates in my head.
yeah,
The singing side for me is still slightly secondary. And I still, when people come up and say, oh, I really like your voice, it takes me back because I'm still that dancer that's thinking, I'm really a dancer, you know.
right.
But it's just something that I've managed. Well, I've made a living out of.
Mhm.
All I went to stage school, and I've never, as they say, I've never had a day job. I've
Mm,
just sung for a living, and that's been my life.
that's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And as you're telling that story, I can just imagine you 6 years old, like, gotta go. We got things to do. We gotta go.
I was very driven with dance classes. It was like, oh, because to me, I was always going to be one of Madonna's backing dancers. In
Oh,
my head, I'd be in maths, and I'd got my school teacher sort of saying to me, Nicola, what are you doing? What are you doing? You need to know this. You need to. I went, I don't think I'm going to need to know algebra whilst I'm backing dancing for Madonna. I don't think I'm going to need this. And she just despaired with me. She was just like, this child, get her out, get her out.
that's funny. I love it. I love that story so much. It might be the best origin story I've heard in a really long time. That's great. Oh,
I ended up being a Madonna tribute, but I didn't end up being her backing dancer.
fair, 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 fair. So you had this moment. You didn't quite know the
From that, I did a
Mhm.
lot of musical theatre. So I was playing Louise Bigelow in
Mm,
Carousel, Pepper in Annie.
yeah,
I did a lot of roles, so which meant I had to sing.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
was getting the experience again of singing and dancing and acting, and I did that very young. Um, and then I went to stage school, and again, it was one of those moments where because I was there, I'm a dancer that can sing a bit.
Hmm.
Even though I'd done quite a lot of singing, my head was still, I, I'm a dancer that can sing. But
Okay,
then a friend of mine, she was on a list for opera for being in an operatic, so
okay,
doing opera singing.
yeah,
And I was stopping at her house, and she says, oh, we'll just come in the class with me, it'll be fine. I'm sure Mr. Brooks won't mind. And Nigel Brooks was the Nigel Brooks singers of the BBC Radio
yeah,
2 over here,
yeah,
uh, quite a prestigious person. And so I'm just sat next to her, and he was getting everyone to go and running up and down scales because it was the first time that he'd invited certain people that he'd taken an interest in
yeah.
just from auditioning to be at the stage school.
Hmm.
And of course, I've always had this deep voice, so I don't think he was really interested in what I had to offer. But anyway, it came to me, and he sort of said, come on, come on. I went, oh no, Mr. Brooks. I said, I'm just here with my friend. I said, I'm stopping at a house. He went, if you're going to be in this class, you may as well go up the scales. And I thought, oh gosh. And I thought, pressure again. And then I just thought, oh, I did it. And I was just going, I was going up and going up and going up and up and up. And he was like, excuse me one moment. Can we just do this again? And he went, why do you sing down there all the time when you've got like 4.5 octaves? He says, and then he said, you can come tomorrow, you're having private lessons. And I went, what am I into now? What was I into? So then I was getting private opera lessons from Nigel Brooks. And he just put so much belief in the fact that he said, darling, you are a singer. I don't understand. How can you not know that you're a singer? And I went, I didn't know I had 4.5 octaves. I mean, I don't think I have that now at the age I am now. But back then he was just like, I was his protege and again, I was just like, yeah, I've got to go and have private lessons with Mr. Brooks. And I was just oblivious again. So I did start, my brother played organ, my brother could play keys, my brother played drums. And I used to just play sort of, if I got a summer off, I'd be like singing along and just playing stuff. And I'd always have hums and tunes in my head. And then I'd just add some lyrics to it because I thought, oh, I'm this singer now. I can add lyrics. I didn't feel silly I started writing when I was about 12. But I thought it's silly because I'm not a singer.
Yeah.
So I didn't progress it because I just thought everyone's going to think I'm stupid. And then as I started having more singing lessons with Mr. Brooks, I thought, well, he says I'm a singer.
Yeah.
And I start playing with songs. But then obviously I left stage school. I got into other musicals. I got into being in big productions again. So that there was no time for me to write. And I was all over the world, going to different places, got into the tribute world, which is very lucrative, being Amy Winehouse, being Madonna, being Shania Twain, being Lady Gaga. So I call that my day job. And then I wrote a song and I sent it off to X Factor. And they got back to me straight away within a couple of days of sending the song. And I thought, oh my God, someone's believing in my songs. This is amazing. And I knew that Gary Barlow was one of the judges that particular year. And I thought, oh, fantastic songwriter, singer-songwriter. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get to sing one of my songs. And then 3 minutes before I walked out on stage for the audition to see them after having months and months and months of work with the people behind the scenes, they said, oh, we want you to go on as Lady Gaga. And my brain was like, that's my day job. What? I've not even told you that I'm a Lady Gaga tribute. You found that out on the internet. You always say, come be yourself, be who you are. We want to see what you're all about. And now you're telling me that you want me to sing a Lady Gaga, and I can't sing my own song, which I've been led to believe for the whole 3 months. I mean, literally, I was in Nashville, and I was singing with a band in Nashville when I got the call to tell me that I got my first audition.
Nice. Yeah.
And I said, I'm in Nashville at the moment. And they said, oh, when will you be back? And I said, I'll be back early hours of Wednesday morning. Can you be in Manchester 6 o'clock on the... I flew Wednesday and I landed at 2 o'clock Thursday morning, and I had to be at Manchester for 6 o'clock.
And what
first audition?
That's what. How far is it from Manchester? Like, because I'm assuming you went into like Heathrow or something.
Yes.
So what is that? Is that like isn't that like a 4 or 5 hour drive by itself?
It's about 3.5 maybe.
Okay.
But I had no sleep. I was living off coffee. To then be told you can't sing your own song. And I went, I've invested so much of my time. And then just one thing after it. I mean, there's hours and hours worth really of thinking about what happened. But basically it destroyed my confidence in songwriting again. It floored me. But then I went to the Long Road Festival, which is a massive festival over here in the UK, in Leicester, which isn't far from me. And a girl called Twinny, who's now in Nashville,
Yeah.
doing really well.
Yeah.
I knew that she was going to be on there. So I bought my ticket based on wanting to see her.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't realize how many other people were going to be on. Didn't realize that Kip Moore was
Yep.
headlining. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. When I bought my ticket, I just bought it for her and then started seeing what the running order was.
Yeah.
And the vibe, the feeling, it was like I'd come home. I thought, this is where I'm meant to be. This is where I feel most at home, where I feel most happy, where my brain then was starting to think, no, I do want to write music again, but where I was trying to write it and who I was trying to see it were the wrong people. And I've never felt more embraced by country people, country lovers, country artists, other artists. I've never felt more warmth than coming back to my roots, really, of singing Barbara Fairchild's Teddy Bear song when I was 6, and everyone going to starting to write songs. And the first song I wrote got played straight away, with BBC introducing, and just the confidence that was instantly installed. I thought, I've been wasting my time in the wrong place. I've been wasting my energy for the wrong people, because things like X Factor, it's just a money-making thing for the people that are behind. They don't care about the artists. Whereas country music, love the story. They love the passion. They love the song. They embrace the person. They take you in. And that's where I feel at home. And that's where I'm stopping now. And that's why I keep doing what I do now.
Yeah. I resonate with that experience so much. Going, like, being, I don't want to say the word beaten down or the phrase beaten down, but that's almost what it feels like, where it's like you've given everything you've got. You've feel like you're at the end of your rope, you're at the end of the road, and then you go to this festival, and it just rejuvenates you. It gives you fresh perspective. It happened to me back this past October. I went to I was similar situation where it's like I've been doing everything I can do. I don't know what else I can do. I went to this festival just kind of as like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's see what happens. And I came out of there feeling so refreshed and like, this is where we need to be. Like, this is what we need to be doing. So
a new perspective, a new lift, that boost that you needed. And I needed it. And when I was watching Twinny, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. She made me feel the younger me, because obviously there's quite a bit of an age difference between me and Twinny. So it's like, she's my child. But it made me feel that young person again. It made me think, do you know what? You're never too old to put a song out there. You're never too old to write. I mean, to be fair, in my younger years, I had great time. My 20s were like boom, 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 living my life. And with X Factor, they always want that sob story, and I'm like, I haven't got one. I haven't got anything to give you. I've had a great life. They gave me the sad life. Going and auditioning for them, they rocked my world, as in crushed my world, not made it. They're the ones that made me a sad person for a very long time. And it was hard to pick myself back up again. So
it's I 100% understand where you're coming from. And being in the position that I am, I see this story unfold several times a year where it's rarely ever the X Factor. I honestly, until you brought it up, I forgot X Factor was even a show. Like, because it's just not big here in the States. Like, they tried it for a little bit, and then I think like America's Got Talent kind of took its place as the thing.
I do like that.
And so, but just kind of the confident, like you get go into this thing, and then their ability to destroy your confidence. I've seen several musicians that they'll go do The Voice, American Idol, whatever it is. They'll make it to a certain point, and then they say, "Oh, you're not good enough," or "You're not what we're looking for," and then they just stop doing music altogether. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
My mine was more of a personal thing in the sense of they weren't funny about my voice, my singing,
yeah,
or anything of that. It was basically the edited version that of my personality that put out there.
mm-hmm.
And that's what killed me. I thought, do you know what? Tell me you don't like my voice. Tell me
Yeah,
you don't like my singing, because that's something I do. But sat here watching the audition that they first put out, what I was being asked, what I was answering wasn't what I would, that wasn't the question I was answering.
mm,
And some of the information I was giving back, the question was asked, and I thought I wasn't asked that question, but they've put it to something that I've
yeah,
said, because they left me talking for ages, because
yeah,
they were all geared up in their ears to talk about my Lady Gaga. But because I stuck my foot down and I said, I'll tell you what, I'll meet you halfway. I'll
yeah,
sing a cover song, but I am not going out there singing any of the tributes that I do.
yeah,
Um, and I had to grin through a smile to say a few words.
yeah,
So it didn't come across on the cameras.
yeah,
And I knew that they couldn't say anything because they couldn't have swearing on the channel. So
yeah.
I was very clever in going, I tell you what, play that song and I'm
That's funny.
yeah. So
That's
so they met me halfway and I did Taylor Dane Tell It to My Heart,
mhm.
which was a backup.
Yeah,
Because it says, oh, you might need a backup. And I'm like, okay, didn't think I did because I thought I was going to be singing my own song.
yeah,
So, of course, I went out and they're all fumbling for lines of what to ask me.
yeah.
And then I felt attacked and bullied by um, Louis Walsh. As soon as I
Mhm.
came out, I thought, Amy Winehouse.
Yeah,
I naturally know how to make people laugh
yeah,
with my humor, and they just destroyed me. And I just wanted to bury myself because I
yeah.
thought, you're destroying
Hmm.
me. And I
Yeah,
just didn't, honestly, I didn't want to carry on.
yeah. It's always dangerous when somebody else holds the edit because they can, like, as a video editor, somebody that knows how to manipulate video and all that stuff, I could literally sit there on an interview and make anybody say anything I want, like out of
Yeah,
context, all that stuff. And it's like, man, that's scary. Like when they get to that point, that's scary power to have. But
yes, it's
at the end of the
me.
day, you just got to trust that it's like, okay, they're going to do the right thing. And obviously in this situation, they didn't. So,
Well, I wrote raise
mhm,
this flag for that
mhm,
purpose, because it's for anybody that's ever felt bullied or victimized. So
mhm.
that's why I wrote raise your flags,
Yeah.
because I'd never been bullied in my life. I've
Wow.
never been in that situation, and I felt absolutely bullied behind the scenes.
Yeah,
And so I got a good song out of it.
for sure. 100%. Like I don't want to say at the end of the day, you got a good song out of it, but like it
And I'm
sucks that you had to go
stronger
through.
for it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got you. But you made it through that, and you're still pursuing music and you're releasing music. You're doing amazing things. When I was first introduced to you back, when did I first message you? October, September,
Yeah.
somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah.
Uh, and I was listening to a lot of your music at that point, and it's like you're such an amazing musician. You have this ability I can't even describe it. Like I just want to give you your props at this point because you're such an amazing musician, and I appreciate you. Since this is a Christmas podcast, I appreciate the tree in the background. I saw that when you signed on. I was like, yes, awesome, appreciate it.
Christmas. Oh gosh, if you saw my house, if I took you on a tour around my house,
Yeah,
it is the Christmas house.
nice,
Got
nice.
4 trees. I've got all snowflakes and stuff all up at the windows, Santa's, lights everywhere.
I love it. I love it so much. That's amazing. Um,
I used to get these 45s and
mhm.
I used to drive my mum insane playing Merry Christmas Everyone by Shakin' Stevens from August onwards.
Okay.
And she'd be like, not that song again. So it's always been a massive song for me. And I just get, every time I've sung it over the years, everyone goes, God, Nicola, you always make that sound really country. And I went, it should be a country song. And but Shakin' Stevens, he's big over here. He's
Mhm.
clearly not over there.
He might be, but I'm still relatively new to the country scene.
Right,
So
right.
like my roots
It's
in
not a
country.
country song over here.
Yeah.
It gets played over here every Christmas.
Okay. Yeah.
So I did my spin on it and I added a few, I did a rewrite, a few lyrics, added a few and stuff. So but yeah, it's the first cover I've ever brought out. Every
Nice.
other one's been original. But that one's actually a cover of an 80s classic.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
You made it sound like an original, but then,
Yeah, that's what
so
I like.
yeah.
We have a few people over here that do quite a few covers, and again, over there they don't realize that they're covers because they might not be quite so popular,
Yeah.
which is great because I fooled you.
Right. 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 Oh, and so this song, it's out now. Did you do a music video for this song as well, or is it just the song by itself?
At the moment, there's a little clip of me dressed as an
Okay.
elf, of course. Um, but there's no music video for this one. There is for my one that I brought out a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
Christmas Everywhere,
Yeah.
which is an original song, which takes you around Nottingham and everything. I dragged
Nice.
my family around everywhere for that. And we sounds awful, but we annoyed um bless him. I mean, I went over and I gave him some money, this homeless man, because I think he just got sick of hearing the song over and over again.
Yeah.
He moved further down the road, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I just need to do another take. So, but I went, here's some money. Please go and get yourself something nice to eat.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was Christmas everywhere. That
Yeah.
that was fun. That was fun to write and record, and that was really fun. The video with my friend, I took her for a McDonald's at 2 o'clock in the morning just to say thank you for filming. That was a home video because it was all through lockdown.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
I forgot. Well, I didn't forget about lockdown, but I didn't even think 2020 would have been like smack dab in the middle of lockdown. Wow.
yeah, and we thought we'd do the video at sort of 12 o'clock in the middle of Nottingham because he thought there won't be as many people around. But of course, ching, 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 all the lights went off. And I was like, where's my
No.
Christmas lights? So we had to find any shop that got a Christmas tree in it just to try and do the video. And then we went everywhere trying to find somewhere that was Christmassy. And I'm like, Nottingham, come on. I know that we're locked down and we're saving on electricity, but leave me one Christmas tree light on.
It's like, okay, we're gonna have to come back tomorrow and do it a little bit early, or do it over the course of several days, which is gonna get
Yeah,
it. Yeah, that's crazy.
but yeah, it was fun.
That's a great story. Oh, so do you see yourself working towards like a Christmas like album, like a bigger Christmas project, or do you kind of just like the idea of doing like singles?
I've had quite a few for the feedback
Yeah,
because now of course, doing this one, everyone's like, "Oh, Nick, please do a Christmas album for next year," because they said they're always quite fun when I do them, and they said, especially like with Christmas everywhere, they're like, the kids love it. They put it on and they get in Alexa to play it, and we decorate the house to it. And they went, we just want a whole album now, because although we love the song, Nicola, and we love obviously the new one, the cover, and the one that I did back in 2019, which is when I got back into songwriting, your Home for Christmas.
Mhm.
They went, we can't just keep playing those 3 songs over and over. Can you
Fair,
please do an album? So I feel like the pressure is on to do a complete album for
fair,
next year.
fair
So
enough. Fair
might be
enough.
a few covers on it, and then obviously a few.
Yeah. Am I wrong? Right? Or is it
I
just kind of
am.
like,
I wish I could take you around my house. Everybody knows
yeah,
Christmas is my thing. I am
okay,
the Christmas. And unfortunately, I don't have children. Uh, but I have a lot of friends around here
yeah,
that they bring their children just to see the house. So I decorate it all outside, because I am a child trapped in a woman's
yeah.
body. I'm
Fair,
not gonna
fair,
lie.
fair, fair,
And Christmas has always been massive for me.
fair.
So I look forward, probably in July, when my birthday's gone, July the 28th.
Hmm.
I'm like, start to think of Christmas. What am I going to do for
Yeah,
Christmas this year? So I should be called Merry Christmas, really.
fair. It, it's because that's always like the interesting conversation, especially when it comes to Christmas music, is unless you're thinking that far ahead, the only you have to start writing Christmas music in July, August, September, which really isn't is like the exact opposite of Christmas, like if we're talking about seasons and
I
stuff
think I'm
like
going
that.
to start in March actually this year,
Fair.
but because when I sit down to write a song, I never end up writing the song that I've sat down to do.
Mm,
The song that I brought out, is it 3 weeks ago, I'm Sorry? That wasn't the song I sat down to write, but I wrote that pretty much within an hour, and it
wow.
just, boom, came to me. It can happen so quick like that, and then I end up pinching myself thinking, where's that come from? And
Yeah.
that's randomly how, the same with You, the song that went to #1 last year, sort
Yeah.
of around this time. I wrote it in about half an hour, but I was extremely angry with my husband at the time.
Fair.
So I literally took my pad, took my iPad, because I have chords on an iPad. I actually
Mm,
can't play guitar.
oh,
I can't play piano. I can't play anything, but I understand chords. So I
mhm,
have an app, and I'm pressing these chords, and then I have to program the chords into GarageBand, put a drum beat on to keep me in time, and then I do the lyrics and the melody over the top
mhm.
of the chords. So, but it just comes to me pretty quick when I run off my emotions.
Fair. Fair.
So, but yes, and then that drum machine and those chords and everything gets sent to Tim Protty Jones, and he's
Yeah.
like, and he gave me so much confidence,
Yeah.
because I was really nervous sending my stuff down to him to to produce and put
Mhm.
all the music to, and he went, And he just turned around to me once in the studio and he went, Nicola, do you know you're a really good songwriter? And I was like, really? And he went, you are. And I was like, Tim, I says, coming from you don't know how that makes me feel. So it's just made me go on and on to just, if I had the time, I'd write a song every day.
Right. Fair enough. I'm really glad you've had all these like people in your life that just kind of, what in the moments where either you were blind to the fact that you were good at this, or you knew how to do something, or whether it was a confidence thing, like whatever it was. I'm glad you always had these people to like kind of reinstill in you, like, hey, you're meant to do this, or you're good at this. If this is something you want to do, you need to be doing. Yeah.
To be fair, I need to do it now more than ever because with not having children, I just want to leave something behind. And every song is a story.
Yeah.
And every song I've written is based on my life.
Yeah.
It will come from my own experience. And to be honest with you, I think because I had such a great, my 20s were amazing.
Yeah.
I probably didn't have enough stuff there really to write a really good song. Whereas with maturity, I think I've had more of a life in my 30s, and the X Factor experience, the loss of not having children, and the miscarriage and everything has helped me heal by writing. And if I can help, and I've always been someone that wants to help other people. I mean, when you get into performing anyway, it's always about wanting to make other people laugh, make other people smile, make other people dance. I've always been a giver in I'm happy if I'm making other people happy.
Right.
So I want to, that's my chihuahua. So I'm happy to leave songs when I'm gone to hopefully still make people happy when I'm not here.
Yeah.
Then my life's meant something. I've always wanted my life to have meant something, and that's why I do it more than ever now.
Yeah, for sure. I was actually having this conversation with myself last night about what do I want my life to mean if, like, I don't end up having kids. Like, I'm 36 now and I'm single, not married, no kids, nothing like that. And so it's like, okay, not having
There's
kids is
time. There's time.
Yes, there's still very much time, but like, for whatever reason, I was just on this thought train last night of like, what do I want my legacy to be, or what do I want to leave behind? And then I realized this podcast is the legacy. It is what I'm leaving behind. So I need to come in with it into every interview thinking just that.
Yes.
So,
yeah. And can you just say you're very good at it?
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I was not very good at it when I first started.
Right.
So, but
it's getting the content, isn't it? And finding out about the person, isn't it? Before you get, you have to have a little bit of something, don't you?
Yeah.
About the person, as you can't, you're like, just going, how are you then? How are you? I'm all right.
Yeah. It's always kind of interesting because when I first started, I always kind of prided myself on I could go into any interview and make it at least semi-decent without any real context to the person. But then I started to realize, like, wait, if I get that context though, then we can dive a little bit deeper and it makes the episode that much better. Like, yes, having that ability to pull a 20-minute interview from anybody that comes to the mic, that's great. And in situations where, you got a young kid, like maybe this is their first interview, or they're nervous, or they don't want to be there, you just, you kind of find a way to get it out of them. But, it is. So with it being the Christmas season, I have two very specific questions I need to ask you.
What do I want for Christmas?
No, well, I mean, you could answer that if you want, but
I always say a donkey. I still haven't got one yet.
Hey, a donkey is better than a pony. Like, I'd say a donkey is better than a pony. So.
I want a donkey.
Fair. But every year, what is the must-see Christmas gift for you? or Christmas movie. Sorry, you had my
Oh
mind.
my
So
gosh. I drive my husband crazy every time he comes in. I've got a Christmas movie on. I think I've nearly ran through them all. Um, this year's one that's new. It's called A Very Merry British Christmas.
okay,
And they go all around London and everything. And
nice.
it's a guy from America goes over, comes over, and he's got to try and find a gift for his girlfriend. But then he bumps into this girl who's, she goes and does the Christmas shopping for people. It's
Yeah,
great.
nice.
Yes, but I think my go-to one, if I'm like, yeah, let's put that on again, is The Holiday.
Okay,
It's
I've
got to be
not. It's so funny.
that Ralph. Xander, I know him.
I love it. I love it so much. For me, like I had that similar situation where I pretty much ran through every Christmas movie already, and it's not even December 15th. Like I just watch all the movies. So
I love them all.
yeah,
I know they're all very similar. You know, somebody's mum's died, so he's got the daughter, and then
mm,
another girl comes, and they don't like each other first, then they like each other, then something happens, they're just about to kiss, someone walks in. I love it. I
yeah,
don't care. I love corny.
yeah, for sure. I mean, Christmas is the time of year where corny is fine. It's acceptable.
I love it.
We can
I
deal with.
love I wish I lived in a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
And that's another song I want to write. I want to live in
Hey.
a Christmas movie because I do, because it's how you want life to be.
Yeah.
And whilst I'm watching the movie, life is like that.
Yeah. The
I love it.
does Christmas Vacation, is that a big one over in the UK with Chevy Chase? It's
Oh yes, Lampoons.
yeah, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Love them all. Yes,
Okay.
I love all the National Lampoons, but I love the Christmas one with the
Yeah.
lights and we goes and they
So,
actually come on. Because
funny
at first
thing
they didn't come on.
funny thing is that's like the most accurate representation of any Christmas we had growing up. Like dad's out there trying to get the lights, make it perfect. And then, you get the family coming in and family hates each other. And it's like, oh man, it is such a great movie. I love that movie
Just
so
think it's
much.
amazing. And then you've got the old dear going in and she shuts the wrong thing down, doesn't she? Which is why
Yeah.
it doesn't work. And
Yep.
and he's just like, this is gonna be amazing. Come out, they're on. And then they come out and then they go off again. And I'm like, that
It's
would be my house.
it's great. It's amazing. I love it so much.
Sorry,
Oh,
not my house, now how I live when I was younger with my
yeah.
mum and dad and my brother. Because my dad's an electrician.
Yeah.
So he'd wire it up somehow that he'd wire it up and then blow every other fuse in the house
Right.
just to get the lights working outside. Dad, what are you doing on the roof? Oh, I'm just sorting out the aerial.
I love it. I love it so much. But I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and chat with me. If
Thank you
anybody,
so much for having me on.
yeah, if anybody wants to check out Christmas.
Merry Christmas to everybody who's watching or listening, and Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you so much. Merry Christmas to everyone. Really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and chat with us. And we will see you all later.